Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Trainer Talk. Today we're going to be talking about what to do if you run into a plateau, you stop seeing results. How do you overcome that to start achieving results again? Do you need to change up your routines, your diet? What should you do? That's what we're going to try to cover. It's going to be a combination of things. It's going to be kind of what specifically you're doing. So we're going to try to help give you some different tips and things on how to find out if you have hit a plateau and then how to change up so that you continue achieving results. So Bethany, lead us off.
Yeah, so biggest thing is figuring out why you hit a plateau. And you have to kind of ask yourself some questions of what you're doing differently, if possible. Maybe it's something that you need to change if you haven't changed something in a long time. But to see if you've really plateaued is another thing. And there's some questions that you can kind of ask yourself is, has it been 2 weeks or longer where you haven't seen any results of any kind? So that's no body composition changes, no body fat scan changes, like whether you look in the mirror or whether a scan says you've changed or not. Your weight, if your weight's changed, if your lifts in the gym haven't changed or your performance. If it hasn't changed in 2 weeks or longer, then you can kind of safely assume that you've hit somewhat of a plateau. But if it's only been a week and your weight hasn't changed, then it could be something else. Like maybe your body fat's changing, or maybe you're at least getting stronger in the gym, or you might just have higher water weight that 1 week, but then it goes down the next week. So wait to jump to the conclusion that you've plateaued or not seeing results at that point.
Yeah, make sure it's been a couple weeks, basically.
Yeah.
If you haven't achieved anything in a week, it's okay. Keep doing what you're doing. If it continues to stay the same, or maybe your performance gets worse over the weeks, then it's time to assess your training or your regimen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then asking if you've been as consistent as before. So if you were on the dot, hitting 4 workouts a week, nailing your nutrition, and then the next month you're skipping a workout here or there, and then you have some meals that are off track, off plan, and then you're not seeing the results that you were seeing the month before. Well, it's just self-assessing and knowing I'm not doing as much, I'm not as disciplined and consistent with my program, so I'm not going to see the results that I was seeing before. And just kind of being aware of what you're doing and what you've changed. Are you skipping out on the hard things or cherry picking on a program? So if you're if you're not feeling a certain workout on a day, it's okay one day to modify it, or if something's bothering you, then you can go down in weights or something like that. But if you're just skipping out on workouts or skipping out oh, I don't want to do this today just because you don't want to, then you're not going to see the results that you want to see, because those are the days that honestly matter. There's quite a few days where I don't want to do certain things in the workout, but you end up doing them anyway because it's part of the program, and you're there I'm there working out with Caitlin, or I'm there working out with Taylor, and I'm well, we're all here doing it together. And then those are the days that kind of separate. They'll say Fridays are separators for winners, because on Fridays people are still working hard, they're coming and getting their workouts in, they're still on their nutrition plan, and those the weekends kind of separate who gets the results and who doesn't. Another one is if you have shiny object syndrome, are you just looking at the next plan, looking at the next workout routine and trying to find what looks new and exciting and fun after a month of following one plan? I would say stick to a plan for 3 months before changing or modifying whatever it is and thinking that it's not working. If you stuck to a plan for 3 months, whether that's diet or a new exercise program, and if it hasn't made any significant changes in 3 months, then you might need to change it up before hopping to a completely different program. If you're doing macros and then all of a sudden the next month you want to do paleo, and then the next month you want to do keto, it's you're not spending enough time in each to actually see if you're getting results from it. And then just in general, have other parts of your lifestyle change. How is your sleep different? Are you getting less hours? Do you have more stress? Are you eating out more on the weekends? Just different things like that that can impact if you've actually plateaued or if things have just changed. Now, if you've been consistent with your workouts, with your nutrition, and you haven't seen the results for 2 or more weeks, then you know that you've plateaued.
I think that how to tell if you've plateaued can also look like burnout, which a lot of people don't really think about. But if you have lost motivation, if you're always feeling tired, even if you're getting 8 hours of sleep, that can be a sign of plateauing. So sometimes it can be good to actually take some time off, which all of us are really bad at. We're just kind of talking about how we don't love taking time off because we love working out. It's like fun for us, but just giving yourself, even if it's just 2 days, to just do active recovery, go for a walk, just something that's not so intense on your body, just to give yourself a little bit of a break that can help get you out of a plateau or get you out of burnout. Like Bethany said, trying something new, like trying a new program. There's a time and place though to stick to a program. Like I think a lot of people can also plateau because they're jumping around too quickly because they're not giving it over 2 weeks to work. So don't jump around from program to program, but also switch it up if you feel like the program that you've been doing for a year is no longer benefiting you. Maybe it's too easy, maybe you need to try something harder. I feel like I maybe was kind of at a plateau, especially in my strength, until I started CrossFit, and just changing it up. I was still doing the same types of lifts and same types of workouts that I had been doing before, but just at a different pace and at a different level, and learning some new exercises and new lifts. And my strength went up and everything just got better. Hire a trainer. If you feel like you're at a plateau, you may need somebody who can really look at you and evaluate like literally everything, like your nutrition and your workouts and your sleep, and we can go over all of that with you one-on-one and give you specific programs for specific goals that you have. So trainers that, like us, are really great for that. Another thing is to like look at your stress levels, because if you're stressed, it can cause weight gain, it can lead to not enough sleep, it can just overall lead to plateauing or gaining weight or whatever the case may be. Yeah, just trying to get more deep sleep, not just necessarily getting enough sleep, but maybe making sure you're getting into a deep sleep. So getting off your phone a couple hours before you go to bed, reading a book before you go to bed. There's a lot of different ways. We also have a sleep multiplier from Prestige that we all love that can just help you get into a deeper sleep so that you are feeling more refreshed and can push better through your workouts.
Yeah, for sure. So as you can see, there's a combination of things that could be causing you to hit a plateau. If it's your training, here's a really good example. Is there's a ton of people that do well with just like walking every day, or coming to the gym and they hop on the treadmill and just do a little bit of cardio. And they might do 30 minutes on the treadmill at 3.5 miles an hour every single day, day after day for weeks and years. They are gonna plateau. They're no longer gonna see benefit from it. They might be able to maintain their results or just their health, but in order to increase their results or improve from it, they're gonna wanna change up the volume about every 4 to 6 weeks. So for example, that person could come in after 4 weeks and they could increase the speed from 3.5 to 4, or they could do 40 minutes instead of 30 minutes, or they could put it on a 1 or 2% incline instead of a 0%. So there's a couple different ways that you can increase the volume. If you're lifting weights, let's say you come in and you do 10 exercises for 3 sets of 10 reps, you could do an extra set of those exercises, so 4 sets of 10, or you could do 3 sets of 12 reps, so maybe you're adding a little bit of repetitions to each set, or you could just do more weight that you're lifting. If you're using 20 pounds, try 25 pounds, or if you're doing 12 or 10 exercises, try 12 exercises. So there's multiple different ways to increase your volume of training. You want to try to do that every 4 to 6 weeks. If you're coming in and doing the exact same routine day after day for it's about 6 weeks, you're going to plateau. So you're going to want to switch that up a little bit. What we love about doing CrossFit and what we love about our classes, for example, like our fit camps and our beginner boot camp, total body circuit, beginner strength, all of our classes, we try to change it up pretty much every class. The foundation and the basis of the exercises is the same. We're going to be doing squats, we're going to be doing maybe push-ups or bench press or something like that, but we're always changing up the reps and the sets maybe different variations of it. So maybe instead of doing back squats, we're doing front squats, or instead of dumbbell chest press, we're doing barbell bench press. So trying to change that stuff up all the time is going to help you get better results or break a plateau. But like they both said, you don't want to do it all the time. Like you can't completely switch your program every 2 weeks and expect to get great results. You got to allow your body to get used to those movements, and then you can build on it. We work off percentages, which is a great way to get better results. So if you know how strong you are in a certain lift, you can do sets and reps at a certain percentage of that lift. That way you're not just coming in blind and kind of throwing around weight and not having any clue how much weight you should be doing for a certain amount of reps. Sometimes it's really hard to do. We know plenty of guys that come in here and they just max out every time they come in. That's not necessarily the best way to do it either. You want to have a game plan for that. So if you're not sure at all how to do that, just reach out to somebody like one of us, or you could look up programs. I'm sure you could Google free programs that'll give you, find your max squat or bench or deadlift or something, and then you can break it down into sets and reps at a certain percentage. And that really has helped me over my journey achieve better results. But it also helps you stay healthy. There was a time where I was trying to lift as heavy as possible every single week, and it leads to strain and injuries, and you're not recovering like you should, and you don't need to do that every single week. So I want to be able to train consistently every week, not have to worry about injury or strain, and also continue to progress. So those are kind of a couple of my tips for you guys.
Yeah, is that good for just seeing how it works? Yeah. Okay, so we can tell, like, how do we fix when you've hit a plateau or you're stopped seeing results? Like, what do you do once you realize, like, oh, okay, so I haven't been working out as much? Then, you can either go back to what you were doing with your workouts, or you can change up a different aspect of your life. But I think the biggest thing that I want to make clear is that little changes can make big effects. Is you don't have to go from 2 workouts a week and you stop seeing results all the way up to 5 workouts a week. Like, just add one at a time. It's just little by little changes. Like, if your diet and you're stop seeing results, you're eating 2,000 calories a day. Let's just throw that number out there. You can decrease by like 100 or 200. You don't have to slash like 500 calories off again to start seeing results. It's just little changes to kind of put you back into that mode of like, okay, we need to change and adapt to this. It just kind of keeps your body, doesn't really keep it guessing, but it keeps it on track and on progress of, I have to keep changing and adapting, and it's like switching up the workouts, that's part of it. Like, if you've been doing regular bench press for years and all of a sudden, your 1 rep max, it doesn't change for months and maybe even a year it hasn't changed, then maybe you should do a different program, different sets and reps. You should try incline bench or dumbbell bench press and try and get stronger on that, and then go back to it. I think a big thing, I know for you at least, with like deadlifts, like you did sumo for the longest time and never did conventional, and then coming to CrossFit we do conventional deadlifts, which is like closer stance and hands are outside your feet, and I think that's probably changed a lot of things for you too. Yeah. So just like switching up the stimulus of training, switching up your diet little bits here and there, doesn't have to be something super dramatic that a lot of people might think, and then just finding other ways. You can always find like lifestyle things, like maybe you just need to get more sleep, just more quality sleep, and then that's like maybe you don't even have to change your training and nutrition, and just look outside of it, like we kind of talked about last week. Like, look outside of the training and see, like, maybe it's nutrition, hydration. There's other things that you can probably do that would help get you progressing again.
I would say something simple that you can do is learn something new, or set a goal outside of weight loss or anything that you see. Whether that's learning how to do a handstand or on the wall, or learning how to do a pull-up, or learning how to do a new lift that you've never tried before. Just trying to do something new can excite you again. It can kind of get you remotivated, make it fun again, and get you out of that plateau. Like, yeah, for me when I was deadlifting, I always did sumo stance, Once I started doing conventional, it was a new challenge for me. It was hard for me at first, but it motivated me to keep coming back and trying more. When I learned how to do a snatch and a clean, it's hard to learn new things, but once you get it, it's so exciting, and that excitement can kind of just help keep motivating you to keep going and get past the plateau.
Yeah, for sure. And just to make sure you guys understand, like, plateaus are a normal process in your training. You know, we've been training for years and years. Like, there's been multiple occurrences where I've hit a plateau. It's a part of the process. My biggest tip would be not to get frustrated when you hit a plateau. That's basically just a sign that you need to switch things up a little bit. Maybe make a couple adjustments to your regimen. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just basically an indicator that, hey, we need to just switch some things up, maybe add a little volume, add another day of training, maybe I need to look at my nutrition, maybe I need to focus more on recovery and sleep. You know, for me, like, I could be experiencing plateaus simply because I'm not recovering enough. So it has nothing to do with my workouts or my nutrition. It's just maybe I'm not getting enough sleep. So I'll focus on trying to get more sleep. You know, I'll do the recovery boots, maybe take an ice bath, do a lighter active recovery day, and try to repair and recover. That way I'm going into the next week ready to go, and then I can kind of break past that plateau that I've hit. So just understanding that it's a part of the process is probably the number one thing. A lot of people get very frustrated when their weight doesn't change after a few weeks, or maybe they, you know, go to PR and they didn't even hit their old PR. That's really frustrating. I've done that a lot. But what I try to do is focus on what else is going really well. Like, maybe my squat isn't as high as it once was, but I could never do handstand walks or handstand push-ups or pull-ups at the level that I can now. So other things are getting better, even though some other things might not be going as well. That's okay as well. Just understanding, like, where you're putting all the effort in is probably what's going to get better. So, you know, for me as an athlete, if I'm focusing on gymnastics and my gymnastics gets better, it's okay if my strength goes down a little bit for the time being. I can just focus on that, maybe my next 4 to 6 week split or something like that. You know, if she really wanted to overcome and hit a PR in deadlift, that could just be, she's gonna focus on all the different elements that could make her deadlift better. So it's not just coming in here and deadlifting 1 rep max every single day. It's going to be, you know, strengthening her glutes and hamstrings and her lumbar. So she's doing hyperextensions and RDLs and all kinds of different stuff to strengthen those accessory muscles, making sure she's good and flexible and stretching really good. So there's a lot of different elements that go into breaking through than just one thing. Is kind of another big point of it.
Yeah. I think that one thing with plateaus is it actually can be kind of motivating if you see it that way. Same thing with, like, having that failure of you don't hit an old PR. It might motivate you to come in and hit the gym harder, be more consistent. And, like, hitting the plateau, you'll be like, well, I have to change something. So, I mean, typically people think, oh, I have to work harder, or, you know, something different like that. And it can be motivating. So, like, plateaus are honestly kind of a good thing, just to show that, like, you know, there's more in you, like, you can do more. Like, certain things, like for Murph, when we did Murph, I improved, like, I was able to do pulls without a band this year, but I wanted to still improve my run. So I started running more, and I'm like, I want to get better at, like, just, like, working for longer times and, like, having that baseline of endurance and recovery, where, because, like, on the last run, I was just, like, dead. Like, my legs were concrete. I felt like I probably could have walked faster than I was jogging. And I was like, I don't want it to be like that next year. So, you know, started running again a little bit more just to get better at it. And so sometimes those, like, they're not necessarily failures, but plateaus, or you realize there's weaknesses, and then it can kind of motivate you to work harder, change up to different things.
Great point.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I mean, I was just gonna kind of say the same thing of, like, we go through seasons and it's normal and it's okay to plateau,
Yeah.
but don't give up. Don't give up just because you hit one.
Yeah, I would say, you know, if you didn't plateau or if you didn't have any failures, you wouldn't change anything and you wouldn't continue to grow or get better. You know, if you came in the gym and did the exact same thing and you always make progress, there would be no reason for you to push yourself any harder or try anything new or anything. So that's a great, like, I like how you said it could be a good thing if you look at it that way. Like, if you do hit a plateau, or if you maybe you failed at something, that's a good thing in a lot of people's eyes, because it makes you say, okay, what do I need to do to overcome this, or what do I need to do differently? Like, it makes you kind of reassess and take a look at all the things that you're doing and improve on those things. So definitely a good thing if you do it the right way. The most important thing is, if you do hit a plateau, don't get frustrated by it and then quit. We don't want to see people give up on achieving their goals. We obviously want to see people reach their goals. So if you do hit a plateau, just understand that it's going to be a normal process or a normal thing of the process, and you just need to look at it and change some things to continue to progress. Don't give up on anything, especially if it's only been a couple weeks or maybe a couple months even. Keep plugging away and trying, and also take a look at the areas that you are improving. You might think you hit a plateau because you aren't losing weight, but you might hop on and do a body fat reader and see that you lost 2% body fat. So did you really plateau? No, you're actually losing body fat and gaining muscle. So make sure you're measuring and looking at the right areas as well. If I go down on my back squat, I'm not going to say my training's not working at all. I'm going to just take a broader look and look at all the other areas that maybe I've gotten better at, and then if I do want to get better in a single area, I'll focus on that area. So that's kind of a good way to look at plateaus, how to know if you've hit one, what to do if you have hit one. Understand that's part of the process. If you need any help with this stuff, feel free to reach out to any of us. We'd be glad to help, put together a different regimen for you, help you with your nutrition, anything like that. Or just do your own research. Honestly, that's one of the most important things that you can do is, we have this amazing thing, our cell phone and Google, and we can pretty much look up anything and learn new things. Like Caitlin said, try to learn some new stuff. I would highly recommend, learning about nutrition, for example, and maybe new exercises and things like that. What's going to be the best, exercises and protocols for this specific goal that you want to achieve. So, stay healthy, you guys. Hopefully this helps. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next